some of the frustration earlier with our play calls in certain situations is because we know this offense is capable. You see a play like that where you see Avery and Jace execute to that level, then why in the biggest moment of a football game are we not letting Avery and Jace try to execute again and giving our best players the best opportunity to go win us the football game?
Hello and welcome all to another 3 Mall Pod. I am your host, Cole Manbeck, joined as always by partner over at Wildcat NIL and former Kansas State wide receiver Curry Sexton. And we're here to break down Kansas State football in a devastating loss. Kansas State loses 35-34 in Waco. And I'm not even going to tee this up for Curry and ask him a bunch of questions about the game. We're going to do this a little bit differently for this show. Most of you that watch this, I think, really want to hear Curry break down the plays in depth. And because we have so many plays for this episode, we're just going to dive right into it. I think we've got 17 plays for Curry to go through. And you guys don't need to hear me ask Curry about what a devastating game that was in a moment. Look, Big 12 teams were 133-2 since the start of 2023 when leading by 14 points or more at any point in the fourth quarter. And only one team had lost a league game in that scenario in the last 2.5 seasons. Chris Kleiman coach teams were 28-0 when leading by 14 points or more in the fourth quarter prior to the loss at Baylor. So, that sums it up. K-State was 38-2 when scoring 31 points or more in the Kleiman era and 8-0 when recording 500 yards or more of offense. Their lone losses were 31 versus Oklahoma and 35 versus Iowa State in 2023, the Oklahoma game in 2021. So really painful day, and lose a little bit of hope now after we go through that. Let's dive into the plays. This will be fun. Let's talk about the pain through here. So you're wondering probably why we're showing this play right out of the gate. This is a direct snap to Blake Barnett lined up at quarterback. And Curry, why don't you tell us, as Avery Johnson goes in motion here, why we wanted to highlight this play?
Yeah, actually, during the early part of this game, I think I texted you and said, "Hey, remember that play for our breakdown." And the reason being, I guess, a couple of things. But the primary one is if you look at the formation, we've got Avery Johnson lined up to the boundary, and then we've got 3 receivers to the field, 2 receivers and a tight end. And you can tell that obviously Avery Johnson, the lone receiver to the boundary, to the backside, is off the line of scrimmage. He has to be because he comes in motion. And to the field, you have 2 receivers who are stacked up on one another, both on the line of scrimmage. So Jaran Bradley, who's the outside receiver, is covering up. I believe that's Will Swanson, who's the number 2 receiver, which is to a defense a dead giveaway that this is a run play, because otherwise you're not going to cover up one of your receivers and throw the football field down the field and draw a penalty. And so my frustration with this play, and I've seen this on a number of occasions this year, is that we are, by alignment, by formation, we are giving away run pass pre-snap. Any defense worth their salt, any defensive coordinator worth their salt, or defensive players worth their salt are going to look at this and say, run, as if Blake Barnett being in at quarterback isn't a dead enough giveaway. Stacking up covering up one of your own eligible wide receivers is another dead giveaway. So that was frustration number 1 here. And I think we talked about this last week, right? You asked the question, hey, you said, hey, John was confused or a little bit annoyed by the fact that when Blake is out there, you're leaving Avery on the field. And I said, well, I get that to a sense, but I said, I think it I also understand that if we're going to put them both in the backfield and run, zone or power read with the 2 of them and always have that threat of run pass, then it's fine. But I guess that was the qualifier I had there. I don't like it as much or at all really when you're flanking Avery out at receiver. I mean, the opposing team knows that we're not going to throw the football down the field to Avery. He's obviously not, design run game is obviously not a huge focal point of the offense either. So bringing him in motion isn't really giving the defense a lot to bite on, right? I mean, it's not like you're probably going to hand him the ball off on a jet sweep. And so I guess if my thought would be, if you're not going to put them both in the backfield, put Avery on the sideline and let and give Blake his couple plays here and there. Another thing, if they're both going to be on the football field, at some point you have to throw the football in this formation or in this package. If every time Blake Barnett trots out there, you're either handing the ball to him or giving the ball to him via a direct snap, there's no eye candy for that defense. They're not thinking about anything else other than QB power, QB run. And so if we're going to have two quarterbacks on the field, two capable throwers on the football field, at some point we've got to throw the football on one of those packages, or else the defense has nothing keeping them honest.
I think they ran, 8-9 plays now with Blake Barnett on the field through 2 games, and he's gotten the ball on every single play when there'd be a handoff or a snap. So you got to give the ball to Avery Johnson at some point as well to keep the defense honest, to your point, or throw out of it. Great news. Good to know, as I hear from you multiple games, that Kansas State lines up in formations that are dead giveaways to runs because of the way they cover up receivers. So that's stellar. I hope everybody appreciates that. And good D coordinators will be up in the box and see that alignment and know and radio down. It's a run play. So.
Yeah, and another thing, I mean, you think about personnel, and on that snap, you've got obviously got Blake Barnett at quarterback, and I don't know if it was Joe. I think it was Joe flanked at running back. Then your 4 eligible wide receivers are Avery Johnson, obviously not a run or receiver threat. I mean, maybe a run threat, not a receiver threat in that formation. I think Garrett Oakley at the tight end position, Garrett Oakley or Will Ancio, Will Swanson at the slot receiver, and Jerran Bradley at the outside receiver. JB played very few snaps, and I think was only in on obvious run situations. Just got a cast or some sort of bandage removed from his hand. And so I guess the other point is, even if you're not covering up your own receivers, we're putting personnel packages out there where the defense knows, okay, there's not a lot of receiving threats here right now, and so we're giving away run pass based on our personnel groupings, based on our alignment, based on our formation. And if you're going to line up and run the ball down people's throats and do it effectively, then that's fine. But if you're not capable of doing that snap to snap, then we have to give the defense a little bit more to think about in the pre-snap. And that play is an example where we did not do that.
Not so fast, Curry. In a couple plays, the 3rd and goal we go over, look at the personnel Kansas State has out on the field, and everybody would have assumed run based off the receiving threats out there, and Kansas State looked to pass. So we'll get into that. All right, let's go to the 2nd and goal. Incomplete pass that everybody's been talking about on social media here. And when I saw this live, Curry, I saw Garrett Oakley pop open on the backside right away and thought they were doing a throwback to the tight end. This is not the same play that Kansas State ran against UCF on the throwback. That was under center. Here, there's a little bit of a play action. He's in shotgun. And look, I tweeted Kellis this because Chris Kleiman had said at his press conference, Curry, that they had a play dialed up they felt really good about here to get a touchdown. Kansas State's down 32-31 here, 2nd and goal. And everybody assumes the play dialed up to get a touchdown is Garrett Oakley on the backside as he just comes across the field wide open. I tweeted at Kellis Robinette when he tweeted that, and I said, but Avery Johnson never looks to the backside or sees Garrett Oakley. And he said that Avery Johnson said after the game, he sensed the pressure and that's why the play just wasn't going to work. Curry, I got to be honest with you. I watched this a bunch of times. I don't think Avery Johnson sees the pressure. I don't think he's ever looking to Garrett Oakley. And if he saw the pressure or sensed it, he would have been rolling out far harder to the right than what he did. To me, it looks like he's looking to throw to one of these covered guys on the right side of the field.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a number of things here, right? It's did we diagnose the edge pressure? Because it doesn't appear that we did, although we have a hat on a hat, right? We're in max protection here. We've got five offensive linemen and a tight end who's staying in protection. So we've got 6 hats on 6 hats. Somehow it shakes out so that Andrew Linegang is not blocking anybody. Off the snap, John Pastore and Taylor Portier are double teaming a guy, leaving the edge rusher to come free and get a hit on Avery to prevent the touchdown, the throwback from even being a remote possibility. But I'm with you. I get that there's maybe a little bit of a setup involved here, and I also question whether Avery can feel that pressure coming that quickly from the backside. But I don't know that he's actually considering throwing to the throwback right here. And obviously there's no open options to to the flat on the boundary side here. So really confused by a number of things here, identification of the pass rush, properly blocking that, making sure to set the protection to block that appropriately so that John Pastore doesn't give up that pressure. And then ultimately, making the throw to the backside. To me, if Avery thought that was a chance there and would have diagnosed that Garrett was wide open coming off the line of scrimmage, he should have just turned and chucked that thing up in the air and hope for the best, right? I mean, nobody's within 20 yards of Garrett Oakley by the time he reaches the backside of that, the backside of that defense. So I think, I agree. It looks great on tape. I mean, Garrett Oakley didn't have anybody within 30 yards of him, but I don't believe that I don't believe that was a thought in Avery's head. I don't believe that we had that play designed or blocked well enough to be executed for a touchdown anyways. So not so sure about that one.
Yeah. And again, sliding protection has been a massive issue for this offensive line. Pre-snap and picking up blitzes and stunts. I thought they were better in this game, but not down the stretch there. And some of the crucial plays where Pastore just lets him go. You mentioned Lane Niggas to pick anybody up. And to your point, if Avery Johnson sees that, like Garrett Oakley pops open right away. Like
and nobody runs with him, right? I mean, obviously they were confused, and so yeah, I mean, he didn't need but a second to diagnose that. Okay, Garrett's running free. I'm gonna throw this thing toward the B on the other side of the end zone and let my tight end go run under it. Because again, I mean, he could have floated that thing 30 yards up in the air and nobody was going to catch it other than Garrett. So, so yeah, if it was actually, Avery's intention to go to the backside, I would have liked to have seen him to, turn his shoulders, take that hit and just put the ball up in the air and give Garrett a chance, because there was no option to the feet or to the boundary.
Yeah. Well, that's a missed opportunity there that Kansas State missed out on. There's some sort of disconnect there because, it's clear that Kleiman thinks they had a play and drew up, and they did. Oakley's wide open, but your quarterback's never looking there. So something got crossed. All right, the next play here, we're going to make the Alenco play of the game. Actually, the home remodeler choice, go to alencohome.com. That's ALENCO home.com, serving the Kansas City Metro, northeastern Kansas, and western Missouri. For all your home improvement needs, contact Alenco, a great family-owned K-State company based out of Kansas City. This play here is the 3rd and goal, Curry, following that 2nd and goal play where Kansas State runs some action here, and Avery Johnson just has nobody to go to. And I know you're frustrated here as well. Blake Barnett's on the field, Cook's on the field, a walk-on receiver. Devon Rice is taking one of her first few snaps. Why don't you talk us through this play and what frustrates you here?
Yeah, I think again it's personnel and a key. And I mean, the biggest play of the football game, the personnel that we have here is interesting, right? I mean, you've got Blake Barnett and Avery Johnson in the backfield. I mean, you just threw the ball on 2nd down, so unless you're going to go for it on 4th down, I don't think the defense is really expecting a run here. But yet you bring in your 2 quarterback package to the field. You've got Isaac Cook in the slot, who runs a simple bubble route, Isaac Cook to the field, number 1 receiver, who runs a clear route, and I think Braden Lofton, number 2 receiver, to the field, who just runs a simple bubble route, which is not a scheme that you see in a goal to go situation where you're getting cover 0. And so essentially what you've got here, and I was, frustrated then, I'm frustrated now. What you've got here is essentially a 1-man route to Devon Rice, who's your 3rd or 4th string running back, who has played seldomly since the Army game, earlier this season. So it was played seldomly in the last 3 or 4 weeks. And in the most critical moment of this football game, you run a 1-man route to Devon Rice. I'm not sure what we're doing there. I'm not sure what the thought process is there. Now I can tell you that what they're trying to do is run a play that we've seen be wildly successful in the past to guys like Devontae Adams, formerly with the Green Bay Packers, and Devontae Smith when he was with Alabama, where you're in a cover 1, cover 0 situation. We're getting cover 0 on that particular play. You run a hard motion into the formation by your outside receiver, snap the ball, and that guy, and actually the Chiefs ran it a couple times in the Super Bowl that they beat, won a couple years ago against the 49ers. Sky Moore ran it for a touchdown, and I can't remember who else ran it for a touchdown. But you run motion hard into the formation to make that DB think you're running across the formation, and then you snap the ball, and that receiver just runs a quick zip route to the pylon. And the problem is here, Devon Rice, God love him, he's done some nice things for us in his limited time, is not Devontae Adams or Devontae Smith or even Sky Moore. I mean, he's your third or fourth string running back. You've not had him split out a ton. You've not thrown to him split out a ton. And here you are in the most critical situation of this football game, throwing it to him on a one-man route where he has to go beat the guy across him when he's playing a position that is not his customary position. So just not sure what the thought process is there, and why, again, in the most critical situation of that football game, you think, all right, we're going to run a one-man route to Devon Rice, who's never been on a one-man route in his time at K-State. So just a lot of things that confuse me about that particular sequence, that particular play call.
I can't fathom that you don't have Curry, Jace Brown, Deron Tibbs, or Garrett Oakley, or Dylan Edwards on the field.
Yeah.
Like, you have all your playmakers on the sideline. I mean, I do not understand that at all.
Yeah. You're and again, I think the whole sequence is odd, right? I can understand running the ball on first down. You're trying to chew a little clock. I mean, obviously you're on the 2-yard line. You're hoping you can get some movement and get it, in the end zone, or at least get it down to the 1. Instead, we lost yardage. But I'm not sure why, could be 4-down territory, why you go away from the run completely. And then why you run 2 gadget plays, essentially one-man routes on second and third down, and really put yourself in a tough position. And we've talked about this all season. A frustration of mine has been utilizing our best players in situations where they have the best chance to win. When you're in a goal-to-go situation, you're getting cover 0 95% of the time, right? That puts the defense in the best position because they can load the box and go one-on-one on the outside in a condensed field. And in those moments, like you said, not once did we try to put Dylan Edwards, Jace, who I know may have been banged up, Jace Brown, who nobody could guard in this football game when he was on the football field, Deron Tibbs, JB Bradley. In no instance did we try to put any of those in a one-on-one situation for them to go win. If I'm in that situation on that third down play, for instance, and I know I'm getting cover 0, I'm putting Jace Brown on some sort of not one-man route, but some sort of route that he knows he can go win on, whether it's slant, corner, flat route. I'm putting Jace Brown in a primary route scheme where I know he's going to beat the guy across him and he's going to go make a play. So I'm with you. I don't know. The whole sequence of play calling and personnel usage, I don't understand. I don't understand going to one-man routes to some of your, more secondary weapons when you've got Jace Brown sitting on the sideline, who is given that defense fits all day long. So a lot of confusing layers to that sequence of play calling. But again, just in a vacuum, I just do not understand the thought process of let's run one-man route to Devon Rice in the most critical moment of a football game. And that's not to disparage Devon Rice, because again, I think he has some potential. He's done some nice things, but that's just not putting him in a good situation.
Yeah. If you're going to use Blake Barnett, by the way, use him on first and goal at the 2.
Agreed.
Agreed. Run him up the middle or give that look. Also, Devon Rice, they did this against Arizona, Curry. Joe Jackson basically got benched for the whole game. Then the last drive of the game, look who's on the field. Joe Jackson's on the field. Now Devon Rice, who's hardly played, is on the field in the biggest play of the game. Personnel usage by this coaching staff is rather bizarre. So,
and I'm with you. I mean, Blake Bell made a killing at Oklahoma off coming in short yardage situations and using his size to make plays. And so if you're going to bring Blake Barnett in, bring him in on first and goal and let him run QB power, make Joe Jackson a lead blocker and run QB power. And if you don't lose a yard or two, run it again if you need to. But I mean, I think people would have taken that as an option versus running 2 one-man routes on second and third down and not giving ourselves a chance and not using our best personnel. I guarantee you. I mean, Jace Brown probably wanted to be, he may have been tired from the play where he got his helmet ripped off, and I know he was also a little banged up. But we've got to do a better job of using our best personnel in the most critical situations and giving them the best chance to have success.
Well, apparently the Chiefs watched too much K-State on Saturday, because if you watch the Monday Night Football game, it looked kind of like a replica of what Kansas State just had happen. Some really infuriating things. So, hey, call all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win for a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll be back with Curry to talk more all 22 when we come back from a break.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, let's roll the next one, Nick. This is the 1st and 10, 31 seconds left in the game. First play of the drive, of the final drive of the game. And this is infuriating to me, Curry. You look at the route combinations that Kansas State's run. Your best wide receiver, Jace Brown, is running an 8-yard curl short of the sticks over the middle of the field. What does this accomplish other than it's going to cause you to burn a timeout if it is caught? This is a wasted play. And it's a good thing that Jace Brown dropped it, but it cost you 5 seconds and an opportunity to run another play later when you might have needed it to get closer to a field goal. I mean, look at these routes, Curry. 4 routes that go 7 yards or less. Only 1 route downfield. Now, I could question if that should have been the route to go to. I don't know if that's Tibbs at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, it's Tibbs running basically a smash change to the boundary. I mean, that's a decent concept here. I mean, you know that in a situation like this, you're going to get soft zone. 31 seconds left. You're on your own 25-yard line. You're getting a soft shell look, and I think we knew that. And I'm not sure. I mean, no idea what we're doing to the field here. You're getting a soft shell look. You're likely getting a cover 4 look, which is exactly what they're giving you here. You got to go to your best cover 4 beaters, and I don't know why a 10-yard basically post hitch route or corner hitch route to Jace Brown is even in the playbook, because if he catches this football, the game is effectively over. When he dropped it, I immediately said, thank goodness he dropped that. Because if he catches that, you burn, what do we have? 1 or 2 timeouts left here?
We had 2.
We had 2 timeouts left here. So you've got, he catches the ball on the 31-yard line, and you've got 1 timeout left with 25 seconds to go. So just not sure. I'm not sure why, if we're running a smash concept to the boundary, why we're also not running a smash concept to the field, putting 2 receivers to the, on the corner routes and giving Avery an opportunity to throw the ball toward the boundary or to throw the football away. Not sure what we're doing there. Not sure why Avery, quite frankly, is deciding that, okay, if, looking at what the leverage that Jerron Tibbs has on his post corner route, to the boundary, why I'm going to throw this inside hitch route to Jace Brown. So I think Avery has to do a better job. I mean, the play call maybe isn't what it needs to be, but Avery needs to do a better job of diagnosing that, I don't win by throwing the ball to Jace Brown. That doesn't do anything for me right now. I've got a big 6'3" receiver running a post corner route on the boundary. I'm going to throw the football to him high into the sideline where only he can catch it. And he's either coming down with it, we're moving the chains and stopping the clock, or it's incomplete and live to fight another down. So that he has to have better recognition on that play. And so frustrations with the apparent play call or not, our quarterback has to understand the game situation a little bit better.
Absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of Avery Johnson mistakes, the pick six is right here. Kansas State at the 42-yard line of Baylor, up 31-25. Pressure comes in Avery Johnson's face. He throws off his back foot. It is picked off. Jerron Tibbs not looking for the pass, and this completely flips the game. I guess first off, Curry, would you have liked to have seen Kansas State at this point run the ball on first down? Do you like the play design? You see Bradley pop wide open deep. Should Avery Johnson have seen that right away and went there? Like, break this one down.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously one that we'd like to have back. And I guess let me just say, I mean, we're obviously so far we've looked at some negative plays, because there were several down the stretch, but except for this play, Avery Johnson had a pretty darn good football game on Saturday, and was, in a lot of ways the quarterback that we've all wanted him and hoped that he would be. So I just want to make that clear. And yeah, I mean, you're in a situation, and I get it. There's a fine line here. As K-State fans, we've all been frustrated at times with this feeling that we're playing not to lose. Okay, you're getting too conservative, and you're playing not to lose the football game. And here we basically flipped that on its head and said, okay, we're not going to get too conservative. In fact, we're going to get way too aggressive. And so I understand there's a fine line. You're trying to strike a balance here, but when you've got 1st and 10, I think there were about 4.5 minutes to go. You're up by 6. You're on Baylor's 45-yard line. We don't need to. I mean, we need to be running the football, right? You need to be running the football, trying to move the clock and keep move the chains, keep the clock moving. And instead we throw a pass play into pressure that we don't pick up. And ultimately Avery makes a bad throw, one that I know he would love to have back, right? He sees the pressure coming. He tries to get rid of the football. He and Jerron are not on the same page. Ultimately a huge mistake happened that flipped the game on its head. I guess another point, if you run that clip back, Nick, there's, another point is they bring 5 guys. Okay. They bring 5 guys, and we've got 5 guys in the 5 offensive linemen in the formation. And yet again, we don't properly diagnose that, and really maybe even have a sixth and a 7th guy in the formation, because you've got some help from Dylan and Will Swanson. But they bring 5 rushers, and you look at the right side of the offensive line, and you've got Sam Hecht and I believe Devin Bass who are both blocking the same guy, or excuse me, Sam Hecht and Taylor Portier both blocking the same guy, and we allow a free guy to come off the edge. And so again, not identifying, pressures properly, which is not putting Avery in a good situation. And then the last piece of this, which I know is what you wanted to get to, Cole, is just, and I think we saw this a couple times on Saturday, but they bring corner blitz here, and the corner is ultimately the guy who does not get diagnosed and makes the hit on Avery, forcing the errant throw. Jerron Tibbs makes, I think 2 mistakes here. One is I don't think he alerts his quarterback or the offensive line that there's a lightning pressure, that there's a corner blitz coming off the edge. And 2, he just continues to run his route and doesn't give his quarterback, a target to throw to, knowing that he's unguarded coming off the line of scrimmage. So he has to have better pre-snap, post-snap diagnosis to make sure that he's identifying that corner pressure, and also that he's changing his route accordingly, right? They obviously probably needed to have some sort of hot route in place there, to make sure that Avery's got an option to throw to on the unguarded receiver. And instead he runs right into the safety who's coming over the top to guard him, doesn't turn his eyes around, doesn't give Avery a chance to throw the ball to him, or at least bat the ball down. And so several mistakes there by Jerron Tibbs, both pre and post snap. And ultimately that was the demise of that football play. I think on the flip side, you saw all day long, we brought corner pressures from the boundary multiple times, 3, 4, 5 times. We brought corner pressures from the boundary on defense. And almost every single time, Baylor would diagnose that corner pressure, and they would throw a hot route, just a simple check down into the flat. They hammered on it. They hammered us on it all day long. And again, another one of the most critical situations of the football game, on the other side of the coin, we failed to diagnose that corner blitz, failed to provide a hot route for our quarterback, and ultimately quarterback forces an errant throw that goes the other way for 6. So again, and again, we're talking about some negative plays because there were some down the stretch of this football game. There were plenty of positive plays by this offense, but the point is, this offense has shown us enough things that we think, okay, this is a capable offense, this is a capable group, but we repeatedly, week in and week out, are not doing the little things that make you a better football team. They take you from a good football team to a great football team. We're not doing those things routinely. And that's why we're 2-4 at this point and not 4-2 or 5-1 or even 6-0. We failed to do the little things. And this is a good example of that.
Yeah. I brought it up because I watched Baylor all game. Like you said, in case they brought a corner blitz, Sawyer Robertson and the receiver saw it every time, and they just played pitch and catch, and the receiver sat. They threw it, caught 10 yards every time. So just thought that's something K-State's got to diagnose pre-snap. All right, next one is a Johnson rushing touchdown, which, thing of beauty, you can see that the middle of the field is completely emptied out by the way K-State set up and Baylor defends this, and it's a QB draw, and it's just the easiest touchdown that Kansas State will ever get in Avery Johnson is the defenders flood the middle of the field, leave it wide open.
Yeah, I mean, just excellent play design, excellent execution. Would obviously have loved to see more of this, right? Obviously design run. Offensive line does a good job of setting the protection and creating a running lane for Avery. Avery does a good job of giving the impression of pass, getting to his drop, and then ultimately taking off and showing off his, the speed that everybody wants to see him utilize more and more. Excellent play design, excellent execution. Great way to start the football game, right? Coming off of a big win last week and then going right down the football field and putting up 7 points is exactly the fast start that we've been looking for. Nice job by the receivers to the field, doing a good job of drawing the attention of the defense, again, creating more running lanes. Okay job by the guys to the boundary. I think that, they're showing a little bit of a smoke route there, which got the defense to bite enough. I think they could sell that a little bit harder, but it did the trick. Good design, good execution.
Yeah, nice opening drive. Perfect time on the second series of the game to bring Blake Barnett onto the field and completely change up the way you're calling plays. So
yeah, and that's it's just you and I think and I know you have a lot of times you've got your first 10 or your first 20, and there's a thought process there, and I know it's hot and you're trying, but yeah, not sure why you go from great drive to, okay, let's bring Blake Barnett in. Similarly, I mean, there were times, and this may have been because of the heat, but similarly, if you see an offensive line grouping go down and I think we had that 97-yard drive, and then on the very next drive, you've got different guys out there. I think we had Dylan Villarreal in there for the first time, a true freshman in after a 97-yard drive, and Amos Talaleli. And again, that could have been heat and guys just being tired and needing a break. But I some of the subbing and personnel usage has been a big confusion point for me this year, and that was one of them. After a big drive, you bring in Blake and you go 3 and out. And that's been another kryptonite for this football team, right? It's in this football game was a prime example of that. We had a lot of really positive drives, a lot of scoring drives. We had scoring drives. We had the promising drive that ultimately became a pick 6, but then you mix in multiple 3, 4, and 5 and outs. And we've just got to establish more consistency. We've got to be able to, we can't have those 3 and outs, those 4 and outs, those 5 and outs. We've got to do a better job of having more consistent drives, better drives throughout a football game, because it seemed to be all or nothing, feast or famine with this offense.
Let's go rapid fire on this one, Curry. 3rd and 6 early on in the game. I think it's second quarter. It's just they run short route here to Oakley, I want to say, and they get it for 3 yards. Again, it's throwing short of the sticks, and also it looks to me like they're running against zone coverage, a man route concept to get yards after the catch, which obviously doesn't work here because they're in zone, I believe. But you correct me if I'm wrong. And what is she?
Yeah. And this is a play we've gone to a lot in short yardage situations. I don't know that it's really worked yet, but it's a fine zone beater. I mean, it's a hook and cross scheme, right? You've got, and again, personnel, another probably gripe here, but you've got, I think you've got 3 tight ends of the football game. You've got Lincoln running the under route from the field. You've got Braden Loft running the hook route from the boundary. And then you've got Will Swanson coming out of the fullback position running the zip route, or maybe it's Garrett Oakley. I just, in a short yardage situation where you're getting a soft shell look, you're just not giving yourself enough options, right? you're giving yourself essentially three tight end routes, all short of the sticks is the option you're giving yourself, and you're creating a condensed field. You're not giving your guys the best situation to be successful. I think Coach Kleiman may have talked about this in his press conference yesterday, but there is a window of opportunity there to Garrett on the zip route. Avery's just late in seeing that and late in putting the ball on him. If he gets him the ball on his outside shoulder, before Garrett starts throttling down, Garrett has plenty of time to catch that football, make a play to get up the football field and try to get a first down. So don't really like the play call. Don't really love the personnel grouping, but there was an opportunity there if Avery diagnoses that earlier and makes a throw.
All right. Next play, 30-yard completion to Jerron Tibbs, a nice ball. To what Curry said earlier, like Avery Johnson throws for 339 yards. It's the second most by a Chris Kleiman quarterback in 82 games in his coaching career at Kansas State, and ran for over 70 yards. So over 400 all-purpose yards from Avery Johnson. A really nice game by him other than the pick six. Here, if you had the end zone view too, you'd see just how perfectly timed this throw is. And here is the end zone view. And you can see when he puts it in right before the safety gets over there, just a beautiful throw, pitch and catch for a big play.
Yeah. And again, I mean, it's another iteration of a four vertical scheme. And we've seen so far that this offense seems to click on four vertical schemes. Avery likes to make the inside seam throw, and Jerron Tibbs gives him a great target on the inside seam. He's big, he's strong, he's got good hands, he's got a good catch radius. That's a comfortable throw for Avery Johnson. We've run it at least once, I think, in each of the last 4 or 5 football games and run it successfully. So I'm not sure, again, why, this is a play that we run in certain situations, seemingly 2-minute situations, and then we just disregard. This should be a play that we run consistently because it's been a hugely successful play for us. I mean, it's a four vertical scheme. You've got Jerron Tibbs running. He's basically he and Will Swanson or Will Ancio. We have all these 80 numbers. They're switching positions. Will's running up the seam on the boundary, and Jerron's running technically the number 3 seam. Does a nice job of getting over the top of that linebacker who's the hook defender, and Avery does a good job of putting it on him. This is an excellent play. It's excellent execution. I would like to see more of this. This is a play that has been highly successful. It's a play that our quarterback is obviously comfortable throwing. This needs to be more routine throughout a football game.
Yeah. All right, we'll hit a second break and we'll come back to wrap this up when we come back.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
All right, Nick, what do we got next? And we may have to cut a couple plays here at the end, guys. I know I promised 17. We'll see. We got about 15 minutes. All right, this is a crucial play, Curry. This is 3rd and 3. Kansas State is up 14 with the ball, 11 minutes left in the game. They rush to the line. They go under center. They roll Avery out. You can see for that split second there, Nick, if we can roll it again real quick, it looks like Will Swanson pops open. Avery needs to throw that ball right there. I still don't love the play design, but you can see, especially in this angle, Will Swanson's open. Looks like Jace is supposed to do some sort of rub route here to give him a little bit more space, and maybe he should have sat a little bit better to get more. But what do you see?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I don't love the play design. I don't love shrinking the field by rolling your quarterback out to the boundary. It just gives you such limited optionality. So I don't love it, but yes, Will Swanson is there. If Avery puts the ball on him now, he's catching that ball. He's falling past the line to gain. It's a first down. So I don't love the play call because again, you're limiting your optionality, which is something we do way too often, but there's one good option here. Avery just needs to pull the trigger and let his guy go get this first down.
Yeah. That to me, Curry, if they get a first down here, I think they win the game. I mean, there's 10 minutes left. Baylor's defense is gassed. They've been on the field all game, and you just start to demoralize them. You're going to kill that thing under 8 minutes at a minimum, but I think you're going to probably get first down.
I don't hate. I mean, I like rolling Avery out of the pocket. I think it's just fine. But in a short yardage situation where guys are playing with their heels on the line to gain, defensive guys are. We can't roll him to the boundary, even though I know you're rolling him out to his strong side. Roll him out to the field. Give him that run pass option. Give your guys more room to work. I just don't like shrinking a field like that. It just impacts so much of what you can do.
Right. Next play, Garrett Oakley touchdown on the last drive of the first half with 13 seconds left. Nice drive by Kansas State, executed well and punched it in, and Oakley wide open here.
Yeah, I mean, again, just excellent play design and good execution. Garrett Oakley's obviously a threat down the football field. He does a great job of attacking the leverage of that flat defender and making him think he's going to potentially run to the flat or run to the corner, cuts across his face. Avery does a great job of clearing that inside linebacker and getting the ball to Garrett before that safety comes over the top. This is good action on the play fake, good protection by the offensive line. Great route by Garrett Oakley, good throw by Avery, good execution, good design.
Yeah, I've seen them run this before, even last year too, and it usually seems to be open. So nice play here and nice pitch and catch. All right, what do we got next, Nick? All right, this is RPO action to Jace, just wide open. And again, K-State had been running the ball effectively. This RPO action had been there, and look, you can just see like the Baylor defenders all suck up and leave Jace wide open for a big play.
Yeah, and this again, something let's see more of, right? I mean, getting Jace Brown in a situation where he's getting that type of soft coverage, let's go to that all day long. This is a great play design. You're putting your two best receivers to the field, running a true RPO, which is not something we do all that often. True RPO. Avery does a great job of reading it. He sees the flat defender come biting down on the play fake. And then he understands that he's got a safety who's playing with 15 yards of cushion on his best receiver. Get him the football, let him go make a play. Great design, great execution.
Look, we got all these positive plays right now, and I think the next one is another RPO to Jace for a touchdown, if I'm correct. Yeah, I think we got RPO right here, and Jace his head wasn't even turned when Avery starts to release this ball. It's a little bit behind him, but Jace makes a nice play, and not a bad throw, touchdown.
And this is just an example of letting your best players go make plays. It's obvious these two have a strong rapport. Jace is your best offensive player. He's getting one-on-one coverage right here. He's got a guy playing really soft on him. This is a good example of being in a goal to go situation of recognizing, okay, I've got one-on-one to my best player. Let's get him the football. Avery does a nice job of identifying that, essentially gives up on the run fake and throws a ball with excellent anticipation. To me, this is Avery's best throw all day long. He throws this ball with incredible, this is NFL level anticipation, throwing the ball well before Jace gets out of his break. Jace does an excellent job of getting his head around, getting his hands on the football, catching the ball and scoring a touchdown. Great route by Jace, great execution by Avery and Jace right here. Again, I think some of the frustration earlier with our play calls in certain situations is because we know this offense is capable. You see a play like that where you see Avery and Jace execute to that level, then why in the biggest moment of a football game are we not letting Avery and Jace try to execute again and giving our best players the best opportunity to go win us the football game? I think that's where the frustration comes from, is that we know they're capable. We know we have the guys who can go make big plays and win us football games. And in those big moments, instead of throwing the ball to Jace Brown, we're throwing the ball to Devon Rice on a one-man route. That's where the frustration comes from. So just want to make that clear.
Yeah, absolutely. This play included Curry. Tibbs beats his man, gets a couple steps on him. The ball's underthrown a little bit. But from a wide receiver perspective here, and we see this all the time, like I felt like Tibbs should have came back and thought through that a little bit more, and he gets a PI. Like if he comes back and stops on it, and I didn't feel like he did that hard enough here to draw that flag.
We saw this last night in the Chiefs game, right? Late in that football game, Trevor Lawrence throws a underthrown football to Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas jumps up into the defender, forcing the defender to run through his chest, draws a PI that ultimately sets the Jaguars up for their game-winning touchdown. This is, and I said this right after this play, I said, man, that is not good execution by Jerron Tibbs. Underthrown football when you beat a receiver or a defender should be a pass interference 10 times out of 10, right? They're scrambling to try to catch up to that football. They're taught to run through your chest as a receiver. And so underthrown football gives them no chance but to interfere with you. So what Jerron did here that was not executed well. I mean, it's obviously a good route. It's a slant and go. Avery just underthrows it, which is fine in a situation like this because your guy's either going to catch it or you're going to get a PI. Jaron lets the defender slide past him, so where he doesn't have to run through his chest. Underthrown football, all Jaron needs to do is square himself up, stack himself up on top of that defender, turn and make him run right through his chest, and that's an easy pass interference call. They'll call it 10 times out of 10. So that was my thought, is just this poor execution here by Jaron. This should be a pass interference all day long.
Yeah, completely agree.
And that's something that should be being taught, right? Tyler Lockett is arguably the best receiver in K-State football history. And we were taught if there's an underthrown football, you make that defender run through your chest, jump up, flail your arms, sell the PI as best you can. Tyler Lockett did that in college, still does that to this day better than anybody. And it's all it's all thought out, it's all executed well. And it's something that we practiced and that we were coached. And that's something I don't know that that's being done here, because to me, that is a situation that is ripe for pass interference, and we didn't take advantage of it.
Completely agree. All right, well, speaking of well-executed plays, this is right after the pick six. Baylor takes the 32-31 lead. K-State first play goes shot. Brown, obviously, helmet gets ripped off and could have been a touchdown if not for the rule that is unfortunately in place. And, but good execution here. The ball maybe is slightly underthrown, but you definitely don't want to overthrow a wide open Jace Brown here. So I think it's okay to underthrow it just a tad. And I think it's a pretty good ball in all honesty.
Yeah. I mean, this is just excellent execution. Again, it's telling your two best players to go make a play. I mean, they're recognizing it. They're recognizing pre-snap that they're getting basically just straight up man cover one, and he trusts his guy to go make a play. Jace runs an excellent route. Attacks the leverage of the defender off the line, forces him to jump outside, gets a great inside release and incredible separation. And Avery does what a quarterback's taught to do when the receiver has great separation like that. Put the ball up, let your guy run under it, and make a play. Sure, if it's thrown more perfectly, it might go for a touchdown, but you don't want to overthrow a football in that situation. And so this is great execution. Great route by Jace Brown. Just unfortunate that helmet comes off and he's not able to go finish that play and score a touchdown and put us up by 6-7 points, or even 8 points. And so frustrating outcome, but excellent play here by Jace Brown.
Curry, people have made comments about Jace's Brown helmet coming off all the time. In this situation, when I watched the tackle on replay, I feel like a lot of guys' helmets are going to come off. People were asking, he has his chin strap on tight. I don't think that was an issue here. This dude just ripped his helmet off.
Yeah, he ripped his helmet off. He got a flag. I mean, if your chin strap is buckled so tightly that a guy can't rip your helmet off like that, then your chin strap's going to be probably across your eyes, and you're not going to be able to see to run anyways. So no, I mean, I've seen a lot of that commentary as well, and I'm like, okay, that's ridiculous. His helmet literally got ripped off from the bottom up. Nothing a guy can do about that.
I could make an argument, Curry, for a rule change on that play, that play could be an ejectable offense like targeting. I mean, the dude just rips his helmet off. It looked like he just grabbed the back and he just rips it off.
Absolutely.
So,
and how unfortunate that in a huge moment in the football game that they got, because if it's just a standard face mask, Jace runs and scores. But by ripping his helmet off, you prevent a guy from going and scoring a potentially game-winning touchdown. So frustrating there, but we do get down to the 2-yard line. We've got to that thing.
Yeah, and I get the rule and helmet comes off. I would like to see the NBA, different sport, has the clear path rule, right?
Yeah,
full fouls, right? In a situation like that, I would like to be able to see okay, he's got a clear path to the end zone. Don't punish the offense.
He's not. You're trying to protect the player by stopping the play because he doesn't have a helmet. But if nobody's going to hit him, who cares? If he's going to walk into the end zone, who cares? What do you have to protect the guy for there? So kind of a foolish rule. I mean, that rule needs to have some nuance to it.
Yeah. Anyways, not the reason they lost, but
nope.
Definitely frustrating. All right. This is just a 3rd and 9 on that next to last drive before the pick six. And I just think it's a nice ball to Tibbs. They converted 3rd and 11, 3rd and 6, and 3rd and 9 on this drive. Curry before the pick six. And here he is, Tibbs right in stride for a first down.
Love it. I mean, again, I think I've griped enough this year about wanting to throw the football across the middle of the football field more, and primarily to a guy like Jaron Tibbs. He's got great size. He's got decent route running ability, great catch radius. And we've seen multiple instances in this breakdown where he's, getting him running near or across or in between the hashes. is a good recipe for success. And he's just simply running a single a one man in breaking route on the backside. Does a good job of getting an inside release. Good job of pressing against the defender and breaking that thing off. And Avery does a good job of just hitting his target. This is the type of play that we should be running 5-6 times a football game until the defense shows us they can stop it.
Yeah. Last play is the pass to Isaac Cook that sets up K-State for a 56-yard field goal attempt at the 38-yard line. You can see Cook runs the route, I think, to the 35, which would have been better if it hits him right there and in terms of getting to a field goal. But he has to come back another 3.5 yards here at Curry. What do you see on this play?
Yeah, I mean, we used to call it a squirrel in. It's effectively a deep curl route on the outside. I mean, you're getting a soft cover 3, so this is a good cover 3 beater. I think Avery, probably looking for some other routes to potentially come open, but he's got to recognize that his guys, open in a soft window and fire that thing in there, because I think if that thing's thrown at the right time, Isaac's got a chance to even get upfield and break a tackle. So good route, good execution late in the game. I think, we talked about this, but this is a situation where we had already burned that timeout earlier instead of clocking the ball after a first down, which was a little bit confusing. We've got one timeout here and there's like 4 or 5, or I guess there's like 6 or 8 seconds left on the clock. And we ended up not using the timeout. In this case, we didn't use the timeout. We got to the line of scrimmage, spiked the ball with 5 seconds left. And so was confused why, confused on the timeout usage or lack of timeout usage twice late in that football game, just not consistent with one another. And if you're going to save that timeout and spike the ball after the first down play, don't understand why, you've got a kicker, you're going to test his career long in a game-winning situation, 56 yards on the road, why we don't try to line up and at least, maybe center the ball up, get another yard or 2. You've got the timeout. As long as you don't run a play of more than 5 seconds, you're going to get a shot. So just confused by late game timeout usage or lack of timeout usage.
Okay. Yeah. And Curry, the all 22 footage, and I don't have the play on here, but like when K-State runs up and spikes the ball, like K-State, Avery Johnson, like a veteran quarterback there, like 5 seconds instead of spiking the ball, Baylor wasn't ready at all. Like in the hub, my thought was pre-snap on the play before, like you say to your team, hey, if we get a first down inbounds, we're going to line up and try to run a QB sneak or something, and we're not going to spike it. We're not going to use the timeout. If we get beyond the sticks inbounds, we're going to run up to the line, we're going to snap it, we're going to run a quarterback sneak, right? So your O-line's ready. Baylor had 3 down linemen, and their linebackers weren't even in position. Avery Johnson could have lined up, took a snap, and ran a 4-yard QB sneak and got down and centered it up and still gotten a timeout with 2 seconds. It would have taken 3 seconds max.
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think so, the management late in the game was a little confusing. I mean, I think we could have used those timeouts, used those played a better situational football and ultimately gave Luis Rodriguez a better chance there at the end of the football game. But going back to if we're able to score from first and goal from the 2-yard line, down 1 late in that game, if we're able to punch that in, whether we do or don't get the 2-point conversion, we probably win that football game. And so we have to, when you're first and goal from the 2-yard line and you're a football team that prides yourself on toughness and playing, good old school power football, you've got to go get 2 yards in that critical moment.
Yeah. Well, sorry to rush us through this, but wait, we got through all 17 plays, Curry.
There we go.
We flew through it, and hopefully everybody enjoyed it. Appreciate Alenco and Holiday Distillery. Get on over to AlencoHome.com, ALENCO home.com, and get over to Holiday Distillery. Pick up your Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon for your tailgate this weekend, or we'll see you at the Wildcat NIL tailgate if you're a Cats NIL member. Appreciate you all. Appreciate Curry Sexton, and I got to head to my son's baseball game now, and my wife's yelling at me. So see y'all.
See you, Cole.